The subject of our case study is anemia. My name is Ashleigh Comer, and I was responsible for answering questions 1 and 2, creating and designing the PowerPoint, and creating the works cited page. And
My name is Destiny Manning. I am responsible for questions 5 and 7, as well as making the YouTube channel and submitting on Canvas.
My name is Zach Faught, and I am responsible for questions 3 and 4, I believe it was, and slides 6 and 7, and the conclusion and the works cited page.
My name is Joshua Clark, and I'm responsible for question 6. Anita is a 60-year-old woman who prides herself on taking charge of her health. Her daily physical activities include walking her dog, playing tennis, or participating in a Tai Chi class at the senior center. She follows the dietary guidelines for Americans, choosing a variety of whole grains and eating at least 5 servings per day of fruits and vegetables, and keeping her saturated fat and sodium intakes to a minimum. She eats a lean source of protein, choosing poultry, fish, or vegetable sources of protein instead of red meat. She maintains a healthy body weight and has never had high blood pressure or high blood sugar, and does not take medications or supplements. Last week, she went to a blood drive at her church with the intent of donating blood, but she was turned away because her hematocrit levels were slightly below the requirements for donation. Anita was surprised because she had never had a problem donating blood before. The nurse told Anita that her low hematocrit level was indicative of anemia, which had many possible causes. As Anita thought about it, she realized that she had been feeling more tired than usual. Some of the highlighted concerns are her age and her sex. Being a 60-year-old woman, both of those categories fall under being at a higher risk of anemia.
iron deficiency is the most common form of anemia. What role does iron play in the health of red blood cells? Iron plays a huge role in the health of red blood cells because iron is part of the hemoglobin within these red blood cells. Hemoglobin molecules in these red blood cells are responsible for transporting oxygen from the lungs to the cells, and also responsible for transporting carbon dioxide from cells to the lungs for excretion. With a deficiency in iron, there are not enough red blood cells to transport oxygen, which makes it hard for red blood cells to be in good health. This also will lead to the fatigue that Anita is experiencing. From the description, is it possible that Anita has low iron stores? Yes, it is possible that Anita has low iron stores because the measure of her percentage of red blood cells in her blood was below average and was below the necessary requirement to donate blood. Red blood cells make up 2/3 of the body's total iron supply. So since her red blood cell count was low, it indicates that her iron is low as well.
So, what dietary changes could Anita make to improve her iron status? What she can do is she can eat more iron-rich foods while watching not to eat too much iron because, as it states in the book, too much iron in the body can be extremely damaging to your system. She could also make changes to her diet by, as said above, eating a lot of iron-rich foods, or not eat a lot of iron-rich foods, I'm sorry, but foods that contain a good amount of iron in them that's actually edible in them, like lean meats, nuts, and dark leafy vegetables, but also have a good breakfast and eat a lot of vitamin C source foods. So folate deficiency may lead to anemia. What role does folate play in the health of red blood cells? As it says in the book, inadequate folate cells produce immature red blood cells that cannot divide because they cannot form new DNA. And also it states in the book that in order to get enough folate, eat the richest sources of folate, which are green leafy vegetables, orange juice, dried beans, and organ meats, which are excellent sources of folate.
From the description, is it likely that Anita is deficient in folate? Yes, I think Anita is possibly deficient in folate based off of our textbook. It describes lacking of folate is derived from the Latin word folium, which means foliage or leaves. Quite predictably, the richest sources of folate. I'm sorry. Foliage or green leafy vegetables. Do you want to redo this? I'm sorry, my kids just came down here. Folate's name is derived from the Latin word folium, which means foliage or leaves. Quite predictably, the richest sources of foliage are green leafy vegetables. In addition, other vegetables, orange juice, dried beans, and organ meats are excellent sources of folate. Fortified, ready-to-eat breakfast cereals, bread, and milk are important sources of folic acid for many adults.
Low vitamin B12 may result in anemia. What role does vitamin B12 play in the health of red blood cells? Suggest an explanation for why Anita may have low vitamin B12 status, even with an adequate dietary intake of vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 is a very complex vitamin and has to go through several steps in order to be fully absorbed by the body. From the mouth to the stomach to the liver to the pancreas and small intestine, if any of these steps are interfered with, the absorption rate could drop to 1 to 2%. Vitamin B12 deficiencies can cause a number of problems, including anemia. Vitamin B12 is required for folate metabolism, which is a key step in DNA synthesis. Therefore, a deficiency of absorption of vitamin B12 metabolizing in the body can cause side effects of folate deficiency, including anemia.
What dietary changes could Anita make to improve her vitamin B12 status? As stated in the article I found titled Vitamin B12 Benefits and Best Sources by a registered dietitian, Anna Taylor, she says, you may not realize it, but vitamin B12 can be found in some of your favorite foods. There's no reason to completely change your diet in order to get a healthy dose of vitamin B12. Taylor mentions eating these foods to boost your B12 status: milk, eggs, fortified cereals, yogurt, salmon, tuna, beef, clams, liver, and kidney beans. The live link is right underneath.
Okay, so in summary, it is likely that Anita has anemia due to her low red blood cell count percentage, her age, her fatigue, and other factors presented in this study. She meets the requirements to be diagnosed with anemia. Anita should seek help from her doctor to possibly take iron supplements to replace those that are lost. And then Anita could speak to a nutritionist about adding more iron-rich foods into her diet, such as red meat. So some of the works cited. So obviously the book that we were provided with or told to get for this class, and then also the article to the Cleveland Clinic of the vitamin B12 benefits and best sources that Destiny said a couple slides back.